Not just start the recording.
Welcome to all the people who have gathered this evening to yet another Tuesdays for Tomorrow session. This session happens online and offline from Pune. And actually, the parent body is Initiatives of Change, which is an international organization. And the Indian chapter is in Panchgani called Asia Plateau. And Education Today, Society Tomorrow is a vertical of Initiatives of Change, which helps and connects educators. And thanks to this online mode, we are able to showcase and we are also able to share practices of extraordinary people from across actually our nation. And on the third Tuesday, we are able to come together for an hour. And before we begin, I would like to just offer a short prayer because let us reflect upon ourselves. We have had a long day, and now is the time when we need to collect ourselves. So I begin a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the change, the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. With this serenity prayer, we have with us, this is Meenakshi Umesh from an organization called Puvidham. It is a learning center. And the meaning of Puvidham, I loved it. It says, love for the earth. And it integrates learning with nature. And we all know and we are familiar with the most common jargon which people use today without really understanding the meaning, and that is holistic. Holistic learning, we say. But today from Meenakshi, let us actually listen to her, what she means by this holistic learning that many of us wish to learn, because today it is part of the NEP 2020 policy. It's holistic learning even before the NEP policy came into being. So let us listen to her and understand her practices so that we can take it back in our own spaces and create within our educational systems some meaning and real meaning to this connotation called holistic. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Should I just go ahead, or is there something more to come?
Meenakshi, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Jyoti, we can't hear you.
Okay, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share whatever I have learned in my journey to make education a uh, natural process for all children. And it started actually with my own children. I started homeschooling my children, and I learned that actually we don't uh, listen to the child, we don't observe the child, and in our excitement to teach, we lose out on the process that every child knows to learn and uh, definitely learns. All children learn on their own. They do not need teaching, is what I have observed. And so, this is what I would like to share with you. But primarily, after having run an alternative space for almost 25 years, I have come to the understanding that actually this kind of way of learning can become mainstream. Why should it remain alternative? Why should it remain for a few kids when actually it can be uh, shared with all the children? So, in that attempt, is what I have been working with certain small schools, and we are slowly shifting over. And that is the experience that I actually wanted to share with you. So, for that, first, we all have to be convinced that uh, children learn, whether we teach them or not. And actually, that is the most difficult path, most difficult journey. Children will learn, but it is us adults, who are all the time trying to teach, and therefore it becomes a big burden for the children, because they do not know whether they should listen to their inner voice or to the continuous instructions that they get from their adults in their environment. And this is the major conflict that every child uh, goes through, because as adults, we do not respect the fact that children are very capable of learning whatever they need to learn. The problem is that we have decided what they should learn. So, like, I'm sure all of you who are working with children for so many years and who have children of their own or observing them grow, you would know that they start to speak after listening to what they are hearing and trying to imitate. That is the learning process. The learning process involves observation, imitation, and then it's experimentation, trying out, and self correction, and other correction. Sometimes we also correct them. This is the natural learning process. These are the 5 steps of the natural learning process. If you observe any child, they go through these. So, when we are so biased, because we all come with the understanding that, oh, child doesn't know anything, and it's our job to teach them, and this is what is good for them, they need to know this, they need to know that, and we have decided know all these things. So we ourselves have so much noise in our heads as to what the child should be learning or should not be doing, that we fail to see the attempts of the child to learn what is needed for its own development, what interests itself in that particular time and that particular moment. And actually, we uh, stop the child from following its own intuition. So, I think now in today's time, we all know that there is not just the IQ, there's not just the intelligence quotient that we have to worry about. Now we all know that there is something called the emotional intelligence. And so nowadays there are all these um, social emotional learning things that we do. Then there are very clear studies that there is something called intuitive intelligence, which all of us are born with, which is actually the highest form of intelligence, in the sense that it guides us from within. It takes us to the path that, as my life, my journey, it has to lead me to that path. So this intuitive intelligence is where all the real uh, discovery has come from. So, if you see, I mean, all of us know Einstein failed in school. Many of these great scientists failed in school. They didn't have any great opportunities in terms of having to go for higher studies, but they managed to find so many things, which means they were working through their intuitive intelligence. If intuitive intelligence can do so much, then why are we all the time, you know, trying to snuff it out and, put this intelligence quotient, this memorization of information that is there in our schools now since the last, yeah, almost 75, 80 years. So, this is the question I think that all educators have to face in today's time. And if we are questioning that, then there comes the next question. Then what and how should we teach? What is needed? What is education itself? And that is a question that we have to address. So that is the question that I ended up addressing for my kids. And I felt that real education should actually build resilience. Because in today's world, when everything is so fast, everything is moving so fast, I don't know what skills I'm learning today may not be useful for me tomorrow. I have to learn a new skill. So, what is most important is knowing how to learn as fast as possible and knowing how to adapt as seamlessly as possible. Whatever the situation, we have to adapt. So, I think today's education system is uh, kind of built on the theory of Darwin, that there is competition in nature, and so we have to compete with each other, and we have to push each other away from the path so that we can all one of us can go ahead. But theory of the Darwin's theory of uh, evolution did not say that competition is a must in nature. Actually, his theory was that the only species that survive are the species that can adapt. So, adaptation was the thing that he was focusing on. But somewhere we all started focusing on the competition. So, now we need to rethink and focus on the adaptation. And actually, if we see, every child is born to adapt, because that's the one thing that we are all, as soon as we are born, we are able to, and we have the wherewithal to manipulate our environment, whatever it is, and put ourselves in the space where we can understand it. So this is the real natural learning process of every child. So now, given the way the systems are, given the way the education program is today, how do we shift from this subject learning to the intuitive learning or the natural learning? That is the challenge that I think all of us who are here somewhere know that that kind of education is not what is going to help the child anymore. Perhaps it has not helped any of us either. That we have to honestly admit. At least I can admit that it didn't help me. The education process, the way it was done in my school, or the way it is done in schools normally, it is not real education. They give you a lot of information, a lot of stress, a lot of um, yeah, like psychological, pressures, but they do not help you to understand yourself, to understand your place in the scheme of things. We are on a planet. What is my place here? What am I supposed to do? So our own journeys are something that are totally, uh, we are totally oblivious of. We don't know where we are going. And it takes us like, I think many of us, when we reach maybe 40, 45, we start thinking like, okay, so what is the purpose of my life? But actually, every day when a child is born and is walking and talking, every day they are looking for the purpose of their life. What is it? What is it that I can contribute? What is it that I am supposed to do? So, if we need to address that, how do we go about it? That was the question that was facing me. And I felt that if we really continue to focus on the subjects the way they are, as dry and completely separate from each other and completely separate from life itself, that is the uh, it makes like small boxes in our heads which have no connections with each other, and therefore they don't function. It's perhaps like a government department. There are so many departments, no one knows what the other department is doing. This guy tells you to go there, that guy tells you to go here, and so finally you end up going around in circles, but nothing is achieved. That is what the learning of subjects does to our brain. It segregates, and not only does it segregate the information, it also segregates our personalities. There is no integrity because we don't know how to integrate things. So, okay, what is it that can integrate all this? And for me, food was the answer. That, food can integrate. It is the next most important need after having to, the natural instinct of hunger. First is the instinct of learning, and next is the instinct of hunger. So food is actually a very easy way to learn from. So food is connected to farming. Farming is connected to all. You can connect it to science, you can connect it to math, you can connect it to social science, you can connect it to English, Marathi, Hindi, whatever the languages. So if we do one activity, it will actually end up integrating all these different subjects and bringing a cohesion of ideas in our mind, which will help us to become more centered. And as children, it really helps them to uh, focus on themselves. Finally, that's what we need. We need to focus on ourselves, because when we focus on ourselves, that is when, like Maltiji said the prayer, yeah, I have to know what I can change, and what I cannot change I have to accept, and I have to have the wisdom. So this is really the only way to face life with alacrity, and to be able to be in the moment and to learn every time. Every time we come across something new, we're able to learn. So this is what we can do through farming, and this is what we have kind of developed a curriculum around basics of farming and working with your hands. So I think latest research, most of you will know that our brain development does not happen because we think, but we think because we move, and we move to allow the brain to develop. So till our bodies move, till we run, we walk, we kind of make all these reaching out to things. If a child does not have the space to do this, there is a deficiency in the brain development. This is all latest research. You can look it up. It's all available. So where a child needs to move, what we do, we put them in benches and make them sit still for so many hours. So we're actually going totally against the grain of the natural um, inclination of every child. So at least if we start working towards farming, like even a 3-year-old can do farming. All you need is a little bit of soil. All you need is some seeds and a little bit of space where you can, perhaps put in a couple of bags. And that interaction with good organic soil is also supposed to have psychologically very positive effects. There is supposed to be some microbes in the organic soil that actually uh, allow, when we breathe them in, they activate our happiness hormones. This is all there in the studies. This is all available uh, everywhere on the net. You just go, and there are very deep and long term studies that have been done to prove all this. So now, finally, after so many years, I think we are at the threshold of opening out this space where children can connect with nature through the need of food. And that is what that is the path which we can all take. So how do we go about it? It's very simple. Instead of trying to teach, we just have dialogue with the child. So most of the time in the classroom, it's the teacher that is talking and the children who are listening, or rather, at least pretending to listen. Most of the time, maybe their minds are somewhere else, their body is present there, but might be thinking of something else because they are not involved. So when you have dialogue, a lot of dialogue with the children, then they are thinking and they get excited about learning. So how? So the one thing is you do farming. Second thing is you do a lot of dialogue with the child. Allow the child to express what the child is feeling. So I'm sure every day we can at least get about 45 minutes where we can spend time in an open space trying to work with soil. And if you want, you can integrate your math with it. So you can say, take up small pots, count the number of spoons of soil or the spoons of compost. It actually can become very interesting if the facilitator who is doing this is creative. Children are creative, but if we are very still focused on what we want the child to learn, then we should learn to integrate it with the activities that they are doing and to allow it to enter their consciousness without having it to be forced in, and with relevance. Right now, when they are learning numbers, there is no relevance. Can we make that relevance through the activity itself? So this is one thing that we can do. Then when we bring in the seeds, we can talk about, they can bring the seeds from home. They get interested in what's there in the house, plant the seed, watch them sprout, watch the leaves grow. You can measure the height, count the number of leaves. All these very simple activities can be done right outside in the classroom. You may have a small corridor where you can have a line of pots, and all this can be done. It's not even that you have to have a ground where you go ahead and do it. Depending on whatever space that is available in every school, these activities can very easily be integrated. And the advantage will be that all the other subjects will finally begin to make sense, because the facilitator who is going to be doing the activity is going to be talking about how it is integrated. Say, when talking about soil, so how is soil formed? It becomes a story. You can listen to stories of how soil is formed, stories of how water goes and comes, stories of how nutrients travel. And these are very interesting to children because these are their questions mostly. Where does the rain come from? Why is this plant different from that plant? So these are all, we can even wait for these questions to come from the children and then have a dialogue around it. So this is what we have been doing, and we find that children are very, very alert and much more observant than adults, at least me. And they are able to see beyond just the activity and correlate it with other things that they have seen before or other things that they will see after. So there is a lot of scope. So I think right now, if you have any questions, then we can go for that. Because I think it's a monologue and I'm feeling a little nervous. I don't even know whether there is a acceptance or yeah.
Meenakshi, I have a suggestion. You're doing wonderfully well. I mean, great. I mean, lots of points which you've covered are very, very relevant. But I was just saying, like you said, let's have a little break and show them a video of your.
Okay.
We had, if everyone knows, we had sent them a set of questions and also a video to watch. How many of you watched the video or thought about reflected about the questions? Maybe in the chat box you can just say yes or no, so that we get a vague idea as to how many have actually seen the video. Especially those who have seen it should mention that they've seen it. If we find that there are very few who have seen it, we can always show you the video now. Ninad, I think maybe you could show it again. There are only about 6 people who say they have seen the video.
Sure. Which video?
And the trailer,
Okay.
the short version.
Perfect. Can you see my screen?
And could you type those 5 questions into the chat box again?
I sent them. Can you see my screen? Oh, yeah.
No, not yet.
I'll share my audio.
Let me. We can see your screen. You'll have to click on the video. Yeah.
எனக்கு அந்த ஸ்கூலில் இருக்கும் சொல்ல 24 ஹவர்ஸுமே தலைவலி தான். எப்போவுமே படின்னு சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க. இது ஒரு சின்னதாக சைடில் இப்போ திரும்பி பார்த்தா கூட சரி, அவர் மட்டும் அப்படியே ஸ்கேலில் ஓடையார அளவுக்கு அடிப்பாங்க. பழைய ஸ்கூலில் அங்கே பயமாக இருந்துச்சுன்னா எதுக்குன்னா அவங்க குச்சி வச்சுக்கின்னு ஹோம்ஒர்க்ஸ் இல்லைன்னா அடிப்பாங்க, முதுகுலேயே அடிக்கிறாங்க. முதுகுல அடிச்சு வீங்கிச்சு. அன்றைக்கி கூட எனக்கு நான் வரும்போது சோகமாக இருந்தேன். இன்றைக்கி கார்டனிங் போனால் நல்லாயிருக்கு, பயிர்கள் நட்டிருக்கேன். எனக்கு புவிதம் ஸ்கூல்லே பிடிச்சது எங்களை ஏச மாட்டாங்க. இங்கே இயற்கையாக சொல்லித்தராங்க. அது இல்லாமல் இங்கெல்லாம் அடிக்க மாட்டாங்க.
இப்போ நிறைய பேர் எக்ஸாமில் ஃபெயில் ஆகிட்டு 10th ஃபெயில் ஆகிட்டாங்க, இல்லை 12th ஃபெயில் ஆகிட்டாங்கன்னா படிக்கிறீங்களா நியூஸ் பேப்பரில்? என்ன பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க? தற்கொலை பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க. தற்கொலை பண்ணுற நிலைமைக்கு நம்ம போகணும்னா நம்ம மனநிலம் எப்படிவா இருக்கணும்? வெளியே நடந்து போக கூட முடியாதுண்ணா. 10th மார்க் கம்மியாக ஃபெயில் ஆகிட்டோம்ல, வெளியே நடந்து போகிறதுக்கே ஒரு அசிங்கமாக இருக்கும், அப்படிலாம் தோணும். அதுவும் இல்லாத பக்கத்து வீட்டுக்காரங்க வீட்டுக்குள்ளார என் பையன் பற்றி எவ்வளோ மார்க் எடுத்தான் அப்படியே அம்மா சொல்லுவாங்க. அம்மா ஏன்டா நீ கம்மி மார்க் எடுத்தேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அடிப்பாங்க, திட்டுவாங்க. நிறைய வீட்டில் இருப்பவங்க, அப்புறம் சொந்தக்காரங்க, இவங்களால தான் முக்கியமாக சூசைட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு காரணமே இவங்க தான். மற்ற ஸ்கூல்லாம் சோம்பேறியாக இருக்குது எப்படின்னு கற்றுறாங்க. இந்த ஸ்கூலில் வேலை செய்யறது எல்லா வேலையும் கற்றுறாங்க. இப்போ விதை நடணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னோம்னா விதை நட்டுட்டு அதுக்கப்புறமா அங்கே இருக்கிற களையெல்லாம் பிடுங்குவோம். செடிக்கிட்ட இப்போ நல்லா வளரு, நமக்கு நிறைய தண்ணி ஊற்றுறேன், நீ நல்லா பெருசாக வளரு, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு அன்பு கொடுப்போம். பாத்ரூம் க்ளீன் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஆள்லாம் வச்சு செய்ய மாட்டோம். நாங்களே பாத்ரூம் க்ளீன் பண்ணி நாங்களே தண்ணி மண் எல்லாமே வச்சு நாங்கள் க்ளீன் பண்ணி விட்ருவோம். Dignity, every work is worth doing. So when we go for picking garbage, I am picking and everybody is picking. So it's no issue. For the kids it's no issue. For the parents, some parents it's an issue. But அவங்ககிட்ட நாங்கள் சொல்கிறது இவ்வளோ, நம்ம இடம் க்ளீனாக வச்சுக்கிறது நம்மளுடைய பொறுப்பு. இதுதான் நம்ம குழந்தைங்கிட்ட சொல்லித்தரோம்.
புவிதமில் பாய்ஸ் அண்ட் கேர்ள்ஸ் எப்பவுமே மிக்ஸ் தான். ஒரு பெட்டுக்கு 2 குரூப் ஆள்னா அதில் ஒரு பாய் ஒரு கேர்ள் தான் கண்டிப்பாக இருக்கணும். அப்படி தான் பண்ணுறோம். இந்த மேட் தைக்கிறது கூட எனக்கு ஃபஸ்ட்டு ஜோதி பிரியா தான் சொல்லி கொடுத்தா.
போக போக நான் ஜோதி பிரியா கிட்ட தான் மோஸ்ட்லி இந்த ஸ்டிச்சிங்கு சோப் மேக்கிங்லாம் கற்றுக்கினது.
The children in our school, we advise them to use cloth pads and we make them ourselves. And the boys and the girls, they are so involved. Boys will cut the pads and give, and the girls will stitch. Or the girls will cut and the boys will stitch. They know the girls க்கு யூஸ் ஆகிற ஒரு பொருள். அதில் வந்து ஒரு டேபுவோ ஒரு தயக்கமோ எதுவுமே இல்லை. அவருக்கு வந்து பொம்மை கட்டி எழுந்துருச்சான். கரெக்டா ஆயிரம்க்கு நேரம் இவ்வளோ பெரிய கட்டி எழுந்துருச்சான். ஸோ அந்த கட்டி வரும்போது என்னாச்சு, அதுலேருந்து அப்பப்போ அந்த சீவு வலிஞ்சுனே இருக்குதா. அதனால அவர் ஒரு யோசனை பண்ணாங்க, சரி நம்மளும் ஏதோ ஒரு துணி வச்சுக்கின்னு அப்பப்போ என்னெல்லாம் அப்பப்போ அந்த ஜட்டிலேருந்து வெளியே வந்து பேண்ட் வரைக்கும் அந்த சீவு வெளியே வந்துடுதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவ்வளோ துணியெல்லாம் நல்லா மடிச்சுட்டு அப்படியே பம்மில் கட்டிட்டு உள்ள மேலே ஜட்டி போட்டுக்கிட்டாரு. அன்னைக்கு அவர் சொல்கிறாரு என்கிட்ட, மீனாட்சி எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு புரியுது உங்கள் கஷ்டம். ஒரு வாரமா நானும் துணி கட்டிட்டு தான் சுத்திட்டு இருக்கேன். எனக்கு இந்த மாதிரி மம்மில் ஒரு கட்டி எழுந்திருக்குது, சீவு வந்துனே இருக்குது, ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்குது. எப்படிதான் நீங்களாம் நடக்கிறீங்களோ. ஸோ உண்மையிலே பாய்ஸ் வந்து கேர்ள்ஸோடைய கஷ்டத்தை புரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னாக்கா 5 நாளைக்கு மம்மில் ஒரு துணி வச்சுக்கிட்டு ட்ரை பண்ணி பாருங்க, அப்ப தெரியும் அந்த கஷ்டம்.
வந்து அந்த படிக்கிறது படிப்பு படிப்பு படிப்புன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரொம்ப டென்ஷனாக இருப்பான். எப்போ பார்த்தாலும் கையை வந்து இப்படி பண்ணிகிட்டே இருப்பான். ஆனால் இங்கே வந்து எக்ஸாம் அப்படின்ற அந்த ஃபியர் இல்லாததுனால இப்போ வந்து நார்மலாக இருக்கான். அவனோட ஹெல்த்துமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இம்ப்ரூவ் ஆயிருக்கு.
நம்ம மைண்டில் வந்து ஒரு ஸ்கூலுன்ற கான்செப்ட் வந்து வேற மாதிரி வச்சுட்டாங்க. அதுலேருந்து நம்ம விலகி வர்றது ரொம்ப கஷ்டமாக இருக்குது.
இப்போ இருக்கிற சிஸ்டம் எப்படின்னாக்கா நம்மளை பிரெயின் வாஷ் பண்ணிவிட்டு நம்மளை கன்சியூமராக ஆக்கிடுறாங்க, நம்மளை அடிமையாக ஆக்கிடுறாங்க. நம்மளை வந்து நமக்கு வந்து ஏற்கனவே இருக்கிற பொருட்கள் பத்தலை. ஸோ எப்பவுமே நமக்கு வந்து சக்ஸஸ் ஓரியன்ட் என்ன, வாட் இஸ் சக்ஸஸ்ன்ற ஒரு இதுவே கொஸ்டினே நமக்கு வராமல் அது பக்கமாக நம்ம போயிட்டுருக்கோம்.
Yeah, so I think now is time for questions. And before the questions, Ninad, could you share those 5 questions which Meenakshi had asked everyone to reflect on, so that we can refresh our memories and think on those lines, and also based on whatever Meenakshi has shared so far, everyone can ask their questions. I think here you also, I would like to share one thing, a couple of things about Meenakshi's work. Besides having brought up her children in the way she's saying she's teaching the children in the school, she has also started a program at a school in Erode called Agastya Learning Center, I think, if I'm right. And she's also writing a curriculum that parents, homeschoolers, or maybe even schools can use. So if you have any questions about that, then I'm sure Meenakshi would be most delighted to share more about it. So the questions are there in your chat box. I'll read them out once. What difficulties do you face in the classroom? What do you enjoy about being a teacher? Yeah, here they are on the screen for you. Thank you, Ninad. So you can reflect on this and also reflect on those 2 major activities that she's involved in right now, and post your questions either in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and speak up so that Meenakshi can hear your questions. Yes, Jnaneshwar has raised his hand, so please unmute and speak up.
Yeah, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. First of all, thank you, Meenakshi ma'am, for introducing us to a different world altogether in terms of teaching our children. I have 2 questions. The methodology that you explained is definitely very, intriguing. Now we have already schools which are functional, like CBSE schools and ICSE schools and state board schools. So such schools, if they want to integrate this methodology in their existing curriculum, what are your thoughts on that? This is my first question. I also visit many schools. If I want to talk about it, how can I approach and how can I pitch these things in the schools? First question. And second one is definitely when we do this nature-based learning, as you rightly said, that we need equipped facilitators who are capable enough to guide students in the right direction. They themselves need to be kind of ready for that. So do you also have this kind of, I mean, trainings or any such methods wherein you actually train people who are interested in this and become facilitators in this kind of learnings? These are the two questions I have. Thank you.
Okay. So, Jyotiji, should I answer this now or are we collecting all the questions?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. See, actually, as far as I have read the NEP, which is the National Education Policy, there is a emphasis on um, making learning relevant to the local environment. There is this is a requirement of the latest National Education Policy. Now it's up to schools to uh, make this happen in their learning space. So it's very easy if you take 45 minutes every day just to do this. It's provided in the NEP and it is totally possible to do it every day. So there is going to be no objection to doing this from any of the education ministries or whatever. Second thing, yes, we do uh, what we call the learning facilitators program. It is a online program right now, but we also do like I work with this Agastya Academy. I go to the school, I stay there for 3 days, work with the teachers, and try to get them out of this inhibition that they have, that they won't be able to finish the syllabus. Because actually when you sit down, so what we do is we just sit down with them and say, okay, what are all the topics that you need to cover in each subject? So subject teachers will sit parallelly, okay, for each level. Okay, these are the topics that I need to cover. And while doing, say, an activity of farming or an activity of storytelling, can you write a story that integrates, a few concepts, and can you deliver it through that so that it's retained much better? And that when the activity is done, then again these concepts are finished. So actually, the portions actually can be finished in just 2 months. So and you have so much time to do so much other exploration. And when you actually do through farming or through these activities, your understanding is much deeper. Like at the first standard level, we can talk about monocots and dicots because they've planted the seeds and the plants are growing. You can pull out the roots and you can see the root systems, which normally will be in curriculum maybe in the 6th, 7th, 8th. But here, because it's so easy, I mean it's there. It's just an observation. And the terminology is something that, yeah, you can remember, you can forget, it doesn't matter. But it's an experience which you will never forget. You pulled out a grass and you saw the roots. You pulled out a pulse seed and you saw the roots. So the tap root system, the fibrous root system, the nodules. Like if you planted peanuts, you'll find the nodules. So all these things you will later on connect with in your subject. But right now it's an experience. So, yes, it's actually very doable. And we do facilitation. So, we can come to your school. Right now, it's only me, but I'm sure soon we will have more facilitators who will be able to come, reach out, and help any school that wants to transition to transition.
Shruti ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, yes, Uma.
Meenakshi
Please
ma'am,
go ahead.
really hats off to you. I'm really touched by looking at the video. The thing is, the first question which came in my mind is, how do you like assessment part of the children whom you're teaching? So, which might be state board or anything like, is there any formal assessment for them? Like, it's really, I can say it's skill development what you're doing for the children, which NAP is talking about. So it's really
Yes.
awesome. Amazing.
See, actually, you would have heard of continuous and comprehensive assessment.
Yes, yes.
That is what we do. That's what everybody can do. You're interacting with the children every day. You know at what level the child was yesterday. You just have to write a report. The reason why continuous and comprehensive assessment failed was because there was too much how do you say reporting to do, too many heads to cover. Nobody trusted the teacher. They all want everything in figures and in graphs. And so if you don't trust your teachers, then the teacher will not trust the child, and the child will not trust itself. So actually something is happening, but whether it is really learning, that's a big question mark.
There are a couple of questions on the chat which I'll just read out.
Okay.
How can infrastructure and aid be possible to scale the attention to details given to small groups of learners? One. Second one is, how long does it take to unlearn teachers from the conventional schooling? I think that would be a very interesting question for you to answer.
Yes.
And in education, educators may pose a block to learning, and educators in turn are being blocked by rigidities in policies and administration, management, and parent expectations. How much can one address?
So, as far as infrastructure is concerned, see, when we do this gardening or any of these activities, it's good to have a vertical group, because that way you need less facilitators, because the older child will facilitate the younger child. So you can manage with your the number of teachers you have. Another thing is, see, what we do in our school, what we found that for every facilitator or teacher to be able to understand, to be able to unlearn, like that's the question. The first and most important thing is that they should be learning something. And we have said that you can learn any craft. It can be clay, it can be paper making, it can be origami, it can be stitching, weaving, macrame, anything, carpentry. But every teacher should have some kind of a skill that she does with her hands. Without that, a teacher is not open to the idea of learning, because only when the teacher is struggling, she understands how the child is struggling. The empathy is built. So this is a very important part of unlearning a teacher, that the teacher is on the learning journey. You may be learning to play the flute or anything, fashion design, if that's what you want to learn. That is not important. Something you should be learning something, because actually we are all born to learn, and learning is something that happens till the end of our life. If we stop learning, we actually stop living, because you can't. And especially in today's day, you stop learning and you're done, because people are going to surpass you, go much beyond your understanding. So that is one thing. And then see, what is really important for a teacher when they are doing the unlearning part is to reflect. So that is why those questions, reflection is very important. Okay, what did I do today in the class? What happened? Because out of habit, when a child speaks, I might just say, hey, you shut up there. That's a habit that I've inculcated over so many years. Now when I'm trying to unlearn, how do I unlearn? So I have to observe myself. What am I doing? I may not be in a space where I can accept my mistake in front of the whole class today, but I can get there. So right now, I am accepting to myself that yes, what I did was wrong. I don't have to tell anybody. So can I make a note of it that this is what I did today? And perhaps I could have done it a little differently. So reflection and journaling is a very important part of unlearning and actually learning also. And as far as the blocks are concerned, I think if a whole school decides to transition, then the initiative has to come from the management first. Then we have to talk to the teachers. See, we cannot force anybody to think the way we are thinking, but we can invite them to think the way we are thinking. We can excite them to think the way we are thinking. So we need to spend some time with them doing activities, doing conversations, maybe some uh, just bantering of questions and answers. When we do all this, everybody is comfortable to speak their mind. And if even out of, say, in a school there are 50 teachers, and out of that even 5, if they are convinced that okay, I would like to give this a try, then if the management is convinced and a few of the teachers are convinced, we take this to the parents. So what we did in Agastya Academy is we spoke to the parents and said that, see, this particular year we are starting a new stream. We call it natural learning, and your child can be in the natural learning stream or in the regular stream. Everything else is the same. We are still CBSE. We are still going to give you the marks and the certificate. That doesn't change, but the way we mark will be different. We won't have exams. We will be assessing, and we'll be giving some kind of grades, and the child will be doing self assessment, and the parent will be doing assessment at home in what behavior, what has happened to the child, how is the communication skills, how, all these things. So there are 3 parameters from where the assessment will come, not just from the teacher and from the school. The child will have a space, the parent will have a space to assess, and we'll make a format for that, and everybody will assess on that. And at the same time, when they are going through the natural learning process, there will be no homework. It's going to be different. There will be no homework. There will be no remembering of the regular textbook stuff. No question answers. Nothing. They'll be just allowed to read whatever they want to read. If they don't want to read, they can be doing whatever else they want to do. There'll be a lot of physical activity. They'll be moving around, running around. Things will be completely different. So when we give this kind of a space, some parents who have some opening, they say, okay, I would like to opt for this, and then it starts. So we have maybe a couple of teachers, and we have, say, 5 or 6 students, and this particular class, it could be a vertical group. There could be one 12-year old, one 5-year old, one 8-year old, all this in one class. Each one is doing what is dear to them, and the facilitator is there to help each one to walk the path that they've chosen. So this is very possible. And if the facilitator is creative and confident, then slowly a lot of students jump from that stream into this, because even parents, they observe, and finally all parents want their children to be happy, and they don't want, see, whatever we do, even when we give homework and the child doesn't do, the stress does come to the parent, whether they accept it or not. The stress does come. So when there is, okay, no homework, and I don't have to worry about whether the child is, as long as, so there are other conditions. Now, in this kind of a learning, the child will have to participate in the household chores. So it's a different kind of a homework. Like we say, homework in this kind of a stream is taking care in taking a part in whatever is happening around the home. So if we start bringing these kind of parallel thoughts together, then it's possible to take it ahead. Let's start small. One small group of kids start doing this. We are all observing, we are all learning. It's like how I started with my own kids. I was observing, I was learning. I didn't even know that what I was thinking of was possible till I saw it happen in front of my own eyes. I think we should give ourselves the benefit of doubt and take it forward.
Meenakshi, another very important question has come in. As a
Yes.
parent, how do I find resources or begin with a natural learning process?
So actually, even a parent has to unlearn, first of all, because we are all conditioned to, put conditions on the child. So first thing is you have to do unlearning. For that also, if you can, we have this learning facilitator course which you can take. If you are, if you feel that you can do it yourself, basically what the learning facilitator course is all about is that you hold yourself back. You don't instruct the child, you don't push the child, you don't make the child to look at this, look at that, and go on asking questions or go on answering questions. You allow the child to be. If you're able to do that, that's great. That's the first step towards understanding that there is a natural learning process. Once you understood that, then you observe that natural learning process. And then, you know, just like the child is working from intuition, you will work from intuition. I worked from intuition. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Every moment I felt, okay, maybe I should do this now. Just go with it. Maybe sometimes it's wrong. Except, okay, that was a mistake. Fine. Next time we don't do this. It's it's all learning. So if you're looking for resources, we have them available. If you feel that you can, what needs to be happening is that I, as an adult, stop interfering and start respecting the great human being that the child is. I have to respect. Just like if I see a 50-year-old child or 50-year-old person, I won't go and say kuchiku. Even to a 3-year-old, I shouldn't go and say kuchiku, because what right do I have to touch that baby? Because this is how we disrespect others. What we would never do to an adult, you never do to a child. That's a simple rule. I don't know if that answers your query, but
Yeah, I think we can just reiterate that learning resources are available, and
available.
yeah, and they can contact you if they want to need more, if they need more.
Yes.
There's one more question, and we have only 3 minutes, but maybe we can go ahead with this. What is your opinion of the role of technology in education? Should children be exposed to it or be completely kept away?
Yes. So when if we are talking about only the screen, then the further away the children are, the better it is. Because I think at least till the age of 12, a child should not be in front of a screen, because it really damages the brain. It imprints images that even the child is not aware of what's happening in their heads. So, as much as possible, up to the age of 12, keep them away from screens, keep them away from televisions, keep them away from phones. But other technology, working with the hands is also technology. Doing things using small tools, that's also technology. That is something that will enhance their learning. That is something that will help their neurons to develop. That you have to keep. You have to, like using a needle and a thread. That's technology. Why do we think that technology is only, the other end? It's also technology. If you're talking about small things that you can do with your hands, cycling, you're using technology. So those things definitely. But screens, please avoid. If your child is already addicted, and the one way to break the addiction is to take the child for a nature trail or a camp. And while they are there, they actually detoxify themselves. And once you come, and even while you're there, you have a dialogue with the child. What do you think is better? So when we go back, would you be able to stay away? Because it's a disease. The screen is a disease, and the child has to become aware that it's a disease, and that I have to keep protect myself from this. That eating junk food is a disease. I have to protect myself from this. You talk to the child about these things. They become aware, and there is always self-interest. Every child wants to protect and nurture itself. There is no two ways about it. No child will say, no, I don't want to. It's okay if something bad happens to me. No child will say that. Initially, they may think that what you're saying maybe is just trying to fool them or whatever. But when they see that you're not practicing, I mean, that you're practicing what you preach, that you're not looking at the screens, you're not eating junk food, then that self preservation instinct kicks in and they stop doing all the things that are not to be done. But if we want our children to stay away from screens, we have to stay away from screens.
There are a few more questions. Should we take them?
I'm okay. I have another half an hour.
Okay, so if the participants would like to stay on and have a closer conversation with Meenakshi, they are welcome to stay on. Or of course, if you are busy with something else, there's no problem if you drop out as well. So we have this question, how can we take the learners facilitator course?
Okay.
How do
So,
we experience the Puvidham school?
okay. Experience Puvidham School. You can come be there as a volunteer. We have a website. It's called puvidham.in. You can go there. There is a page where you can apply for volunteership and come. There is also, so if there is an email there, you can write to us and I will send you the details about the learning facilitators course.
Okay. Another question is, suppose a child takes natural learning process in 8th and does so till 10th. Then how about the board exams he or she is supposed to appear for?
Yeah. So actually, if the child is going through the natural learning process, it's not that they don't do anything. On their own, they start reading. And by the time they are in the 8th, like I said, there's the self-preservation and self-excellence instinct that is there. So child wants to do something. And when you say, okay, now, it's time that you start appearing for, because 8th in the NIOS system, you write the exam. So after the 7th, we talk to the child and, okay, you've done all these things, but do you want to? Do you want to write this exam now? 8th exam. If you want to, then these are the things that you have to do. You have to make a timetable, you have to focus, you have to find time to spend on academics now. If the child decides to, they do it. There is never a case where a child does not, once they decide to do, they drop out, they don't. My own kids, I had to tell them, stop studying, there is no need, I don't need so many marks, it's okay, sleep. But they were competing with themselves. And I think that is the instinct of every child. They want to excel, they want to do the best that they can, and they will. We don't have to worry about it.
Any more questions? There aren't any more on the chat, but if anybody wants to unmute themselves and speak up, then please do so.
Also, we need to take a few moments of reflection.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Reflecting on all the wisdom
Yeah,
that
maybe
we
we'll
heard.
do that first.
Yeah.
Take
Because
a couple of minutes of silence.
actually, what you just now shared with all of us is how do you make learning experiential so that the child enjoys learning and gets into the habit of becoming a self-learner.
Yes.
So the teacher or the parent needn't be behind them to sit to study, whereas the child takes responsibility over the learning space. And
Yes.
that learning, whether it is a teacher or whether it is a child, it is continuous and it is driven by the self.
Yes.
And I think that learning helps even in the socio-emotional space, because the child knows to manage his own learning and under very much. For whatever I've heard, I've written down quite a lot of all the wisdom which you have practiced so far. And as Jyoti Narayan just now asked, how do we visit Puvidham? I think you will have a whole bunch of us coming to Puvidham and seeing what you do, because it is said, seeing is believing. And so we would love to be doing that. So thank you very much. So we'll observe a minute of silence and reflect on all the beautiful learnings, your learnings that you shared with us so beautifully. And let's see how we can take at least some part of it into our spaces. Thank you.
Namaste, ma'am. This is Subha here. My question, it may be personal to you, but still I want to know about it. I'm sorry for it. From Bombay, how you went to Dharmapuri, and also from a busy life, you went into the village life. This is a big change. I mean, I don't know whether you went with the kids or even so many passions will be there in everybody's heart. But when it comes to reality, how it is going to happen, what will be doing, so many questions ponder in our mind. So can you please share few pointers on that? Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes. So I think actually it is, for me, it was a journey from city to, from madness to sense. I just couldn't make sense of the life in the city because I felt that we were all running and that we weren't reaching anywhere. And we used to have the summer vacations when we used to go back to our village. And there I felt life was, it was very relaxing, and you actually could do something. We could harvest, you could see the food coming, you could milk the cow, you could clean the dung, and that all made sense. It was something you did, and you saw the consequence or the result immediately. Whereas my dad used to go to office, we never know what the hell he did, and he used to come back looking so tired and so stressed, and there was no reality in that. It was like very uh, virtual. Everything was very virtual. So when I was growing up, I was lucky that I was not a good student. So I was not focused on studies. I was just running around. And I got a lot of time to observe the society and what was happening. And I had a lot of questions as to why there is so much poverty, why some people are poor, why some people throw food, whereas some people don't even have one meal properly. So all these questions were bothering me. And I saw the comparison of life in the city and the life in the village, and I found that in the village you never saw such abject poverty. They were people who had less material things, but they were happier. And I decided that I want to be happy. I don't want things, but I definitely want to be happy, and I want to see the fruit of my action. I want to do something, and I want to have the fruit in my hand. I don't know, what is going to come in future. That I don't want to care. I want to know. I want to, see it. So growing food was something that became very important for me. Then I also felt that, I've been blessed with this one body, and it's my duty to give it good air, good water, good food. That's the least I can do for my body after being born in this form. And the only way to do it was to grow it myself. And all this together, and I think uh, there was no self doubt. There was no doubt that whether I'll be able to do it or not. I think in that sense, I remained as a child in my head. There was no doubt. Children have no doubts that whether I can do it or not. We just start doing it, it'll keep happening. That was the kind of attitude with which I got into this. When I left home, I was about 20, 21. So it was before I got into the rut of life. I guess that helped. So yeah, I had my kids on the farm. So it was much easier, I guess, than once you have kids, then transitioning becomes more difficult.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Meenakshi, there is one more question on the chat, if you'd like
Okay.
to take it. How
Yes.
important is structured learning with respect to management of time and efforts? Since a lot of self-directed learning is free from the structure of time.
Actually, I would say self-directed learning is self-structured learning also. So the child decides that they will be reading these particular subjects at this particular time. They'll make a timetable for themselves. They'll have their own clock to wake them up at the right time. And we, at least in Puvidham, we are all very insistent that early morning waking up is very necessary for good health and a good emotional balance. So waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and so the children who, like my own kids, they were able to do it. I had to just maybe call them occasionally, that, do you want to wake up, or today you're feeling tired, why don't you continue to sleep? It's okay. Then they'd say, no, 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 just give me 5 minutes, I'll wake up. They were able to. They are able to. Children are able to. Once they have decided that they want to do something, they are able to take it forward. And they give the structure to their own learning. And with some help from us, you say, okay, like something like math, you would rather do after lunch. Because if after lunch, if you decide to read English, then you might be sleeping. So this kind of small practical advice, yeah, we can give.
Meenakshi, I joined late and I couldn't get the signal. I'm
Okay.
calling from Sikkim, and
Okay.
the signal is very poor, but somehow I managed to join in. What you
Mm-hmm.
are saying, I'm actually seeing here.
Okay.
And I was there in a I was visiting a technical institute
Mm-hmm.
where a couple was asking this question: how come the people of this place are so quiet and people of my city are so noisy? And then the whole thing, what you were just now speaking, uh, it came out, and that conversation was revolving around this. From my window, I see my school children, how they catch the hen and put it back in their place, and how they are looking after their cardamom plants, and they're also coming to school. So I I can really visualize what you're talking about, and I think yes, those useless, futile homework which we give to our child should be actually done away. Yes, I will watch your this session recording, and but I am happy that I could at least see you today.
I'm so happy. I've been actually dreaming of coming to Sikkim sometime. So maybe we
I'm
can
here since the
connect.
past 1.5 months, and
Okay.
another 10-15 days I will be here.
Okay.
So it's amazing. The learning is amazing from this place.
Yes, true. I've heard a lot about how, yeah, actually, hill people are very resilient. We all
Hmm.
know. But I have heard about Sikkim being a place where each person is embodiment of wisdom. So nice,
It's a
nice.
small village. It's a small village where I am here in a school.
Wonderful. Good.
Jyoti, you want to announce the ETST workshop, which is
Yeah, yeah, okay. Shall I then wind up also?
yeah.
Meenakshi, is that,
Yes.
yeah?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to announce and inform all of you that we are having the ETST workshop at Panchgani from 5th to 8th November. And those of you who have already attended before know the value of it. And those who have not attended it before, I would strongly suggest and strongly say that you must come and experience it for yourself, because hearing about it is not enough. Experiencing it is more important. So we have been putting up the flyer regarding the dates and all that in the groups. So if you are part of any of the groups, which you must be, I think, you will have got it. Otherwise, In the last message where you have, there our numbers are there, Ninad's number and my number are on that flyer. So if you need any further information, you can call us up. So last but not the least, I would like to, do you want to say something, Malti?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think Puvidham people are going to be part of the ETST.
Puvidham children are going to be performing.
So I thought, you should mention that because at the ETST.
Yes.
Yeah.
Puvidham, in fact, Meenakshi's daughter, thank you for reminding me. Meenakshi's daughter, Kaya, will be there speaking about natural learning and sustainable education for some time. And it will be followed by a performance, theater performance by their children. And the topic of that performance is freedom from waste. So I hope that this will further motivate some of you to come and join us and be a part of our ETST workshop.
Can you please share
anything?
that ETST program detail in the chat, because I am not.
Ninad, could you do that, please?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Malti, anything else I've missed out?
No, I think that's all. And in fact, we are trying to create this group of interested people in bringing more meaning, to education. Because India is such a vast and diverse country that we need to be connected like this. And we need to hold each other's hands and we need to share. Because we as educators, we as parents, we know what is good for our children. And I think it creates a sense of India, I care. Because then you become an active citizen of India. Because imagine we have 144 crore people. And if we don't do our little bit, then how do we bring about quality in education? How do we bring about holistic education? So I thank you so much, Meenakshi. And you are an inspiration. You're an inspiration. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meenakshi, on behalf of everybody here today.
Yeah.
My sincerest thanks for enlightening us about your work and inspiring us to make some small changes in our lives.
Thank you to Ninad also.
Yes,
Ninad.
definitely. Thank you, Ninad.
Yeah.
He was the saving grace today.
Yes.
He was there to help us through this presentation and, of course, even before it. Thank you.
In fact,
I
Jyoti,
think to somebody called Chitra, who's been putting up the points in the chat box. Thank you so much. That was most helpful. And I think she's made a Google link also of it. So those of you who missed out any of the points during during Meenakshi's presentation can revisit it at that Google link. So thank you once again, Meenakshi. It was a privilege having you with us today.
I'm honored and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.